Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to share 4 easy vegan recipes that I love. So starting off with my crispy sesame tofu, a really good trick to get a nice texture out of the tofu is to actually freeze it overnight and defrost it just before cooking with it. This will also just give it a much nicer chew. So here I'm breaking the tofu apart into bite-sized pieces. Then I'm coating it with a combination of cornstarch and potato starch. It's totally fine if you only have one of those things. I like to use both to kind of give the tofu a bit more depth of crispiness, if that's even a thing. So now I'm just adding a bit of vegetable oil in the pan, and once that's hot enough, I'm just gonna go ahead and fry the tofu pieces. And while I have that going, I'm also just boiling some broccolini. Then I'm just seasoning it with a bit of soy sauce and sesame oil. For the glaze, I'm using a combination of soy sauce, sesame oil, maple syrup, garlic powder, cornstarch, and water. And now I'm just removing the tofu from the heat and letting the sauce thicken before adding the tofu back in. Top it off with some sesame seeds and serve it with rice, and you're all done. So up next, we have some BBQ Soy Curl Tacos. If you haven't had soy curls before, you'll definitely have to give it a go. They're a natural meat alternative made from whole soybeans, and all you have to do is soak it in water for about 8 to 10 minutes, and you should be able to cook with them right away. Here I'm just slicing some onions and bell peppers, and then I'm gonna saute them together. I'm also preparing a simple salsa with tomatoes, red onions, salt, pepper, and some lemon juice. And now I'm just adding some leftover black beans I had in the fridge to go with the onions and bell peppers, and then I'm adding some fajita seasoning to taste. To cook the soy curls, I'm just heating up some vegetable oil and frying the soy curls with some salt, maple syrup, and spicy barbecue sauce. I'm just frying it until the soy curls are nice and golden. So to serve, I've just warmed up some tortillas in the oven. I also split the salsa I made in half to make some guacamole, and that's it. For our next meal, I'm just making some lentil meatballs with spicy rigatoni. For the lentils, I'm just cooking them in salted water until they're tender. And for the rest of the seasoning, I'm using red pepper flakes, smoked paprika, garlic powder, thyme, salt, and a bit of cocoa powder. The cocoa powder was actually just an experiment, and it honestly didn't add much to the meatball, so feel free to skip that. I'm also just adding in some basil, parsley, onion, garlic, and panko breadcrumbs, and after that I'm just giving it a good mix and putting it in the food processor. Once the lentil mixture is ready, you're just going to want to shape the meatballs. So now I'm just frying the meatballs until they're nicely browned on each side, and then I'm going to bake it in the oven for a few more minutes until it's nice and firm. For the pasta, I just prepped some basil and a few cloves of garlic, and using the same pan from earlier, I've added a generous amount of extra virgin olive oil, and I'm just going to cook the garlic until they're tender. After that, I'm just going to add some basil and red pepper flakes, and while I'm doing this, I've also gone ahead and cooked the pasta just before it's al dente. So once the olive oil, garlic, red pepper flakes, and basil have kind of mingled together, I'm adding in a little bit of tomato sauce, and I'm just going to let that reduce for a little bit. Now that the pasta is ready, I'm just adding it into the sauce with a little bit of pasta water. Give that a good mix, add your meatballs, and you're all done. Alright, so for the last recipe, I'm making a sweet potato shepherd's pie using some of the leftover lentil meatballs. To start, you're just going to want to boil the potatoes in salted water. And for the gravy, I've prepared some mushrooms, carrots, garlic, and onions. I've basically just cooked it all together with some water, salt and pepper to taste, and the lentil meatballs. Once the potatoes are cooked, just mash them together, season with salt, pepper, vegan butter, and a bit of cream if you have any. To assemble, just pour in the mushroom gravy in your baking dish and add the mashed potatoes on top. I've gone ahead and used a fork to create some nice edges, and then I've topped it off with some Maldon salt and thyme for extra flavor and texture. Bake it in the oven until the top layer is nice and brown, and just serve it as it is. That's it. Those are my 4 easy vegan recipes. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. If you'd like to see more cooking videos from me, I would love to have you here. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.